Sleep should be our sanctuary, a time of peace and restoration. But what if I told you that the hours when you're most vulnerable might also be when you're most exposed to supernatural encounters? Tonight, we're diving deep into the spine-chilling world of sleep-related paranormal phenomena that will make you think twice about closing your eyes. The 3 a.m. phenomenon, when the veil is thinnest. Paranormal investigators worldwide have documented an unsettling pattern. Ghostly encounters peak between 3 and 4 a.m. This isn't coincidence. Known as the Devil's Hour or Witching Hour, this time period represents the exact opposite of 3 p.m., traditionally considered the hour of divine mercy. During these early morning hours, our brains produce the least amount of melatonin, making us naturally more alert to supernatural disturbances. What makes this even more terrifying is that your REM sleep cycles align perfectly with this time frame. When you're in your deepest dream state, your consciousness becomes most susceptible to otherworldly interference. Countless witnesses report being jolted awake at exactly 3:33 a.m. by unexplained sounds, shadows, or the overwhelming sensation of being watched. Sleep paralysis, the gateway for supernatural encounters. One of the most horrifying experiences combines medical science with paranormal terror. Sleep paralysis affects nearly 8% of the population, but here's what doctors won't tell you. Many victims report identical supernatural encounters during these episodes. During sleep paralysis, your mind awakens but your body remains locked in REM, sleep's natural paralysis. Victims describe seeing shadow figures, hooded entities, or deceased relatives standing at the foot of their bed. The most common report involves a dark presence sitting on the chest, making breathing nearly impossible. While science explains this as hallucinations caused by overlapping sleep states, the consistency of these supernatural encounters across cultures and continents suggests something far more sinister. Ancient folklore from every civilization describes these nocturnal visitors. The old hag in Anglo-Saxon tradition, see Udat in Cambodia, and Karabasan in Turkey. The fact that isolated cultures developed identical explanations for sleep paralysis encounters points to a shared supernatural reality that modern medicine refuses to acknowledge. The haunted hours, your brain's supernatural vulnerability. Between 2 and 5 a.m., your brain undergoes a dramatic transformation that creates the perfect conditions for ghostly encounters. Your prefrontal cortex, responsible for logical thinking and skepticism, operates at its lowest capacity. Meanwhile, your temporal lobe activity increases, making you hypersensitive to electromagnetic fields and subtle environmental changes that spirits use to manifest. This biological vulnerability explains why so many people report their most intense supernatural experiences during these hours. Your natural psychic defenses are down, creating an open doorway for entities that exist just beyond our normal perception. Ghost hunters have discovered that EMF readings consistently spike in bedrooms between these hours, even in locations with no previous paranormal activity. The nightmare realm, when dreams become supernatural battlegrounds. Recurring nightmares aren't always products of stress or anxiety. Sleep researchers have identified patterns in nightmare content that suggest external supernatural influence. Victims often dream of the same unknown locations, encounter identical mysterious figures, or experience scenarios that later manifest in their waking lives. The most chilling cases involve shared nightmares between family members or roommates. Multiple witnesses report dreaming of the same ghostly figure warning them of danger, only to discover later that a tragic death occurred in their building decades earlier. These collective supernatural dreams suggest that certain spirits actively enter our subconscious realm, using our dream state as a communication channel. Even more disturbing are the documented cases of nightmare entities that follow people from sleep into waking life. Victims report seeing dream figures in their peripheral vision, finding physical evidence of dream encounters, or experiencing unexplained injuries that correspond to dream attacks. Supernatural sleep disturbances, the signs you're not alone. Your bedroom might harbor invisible residents that make their presence known through subtle sleep disruptions. Cold spots that appear suddenly during the night often indicate spiritual activity, as entities draw thermal energy to manifest. Many people dismiss the feeling of someone sitting on their bed as imagination, but paranormal investigators have recorded actual mattress depressions and bed spring sounds with no physical cause. Electronic devices behaving strangely during sleep hours provide another crucial warning sign. Phones turning on by themselves, alarms going off at random times, or sleep-tracking apps recording impossible movement patterns all suggest supernatural interference. Spirits often manipulate electromagnetic fields, causing these technological disturbances as they attempt to interact with our physical world. The sensation of being touched while sleeping, particularly on the shoulders or feet, represents one of the most common forms of ghostly contact. Unlike sleep-related muscle jerks, these touches feel distinctly external and purposeful. Witnesses describe the weight and temperature of invisible hands, often accompanied by the overwhelming sense of an unseen presence in the room. The supernatural sleep cycle, how ghosts manipulate your rest. Entities seem to understand human sleep patterns better than we do. They strategically time their manifestations to coincide with your most vulnerable sleep phases. During light sleep stages, when you're most likely to partially wake up, spirits create just enough disturbance to capture your attention without fully rousing you from your vulnerable state. This manipulation explains why so many people experience that eerie feeling of being watched while lying in bed with their eyes closed. Your subconscious mind detects the supernatural presence, but your conscious awareness remains suppressed by sleep hormones. The result is a terrifying liminal state where you know something is wrong but can't quite grasp what's happening. Ghost researchers have documented cases where entities deliberately disrupt sleep patterns to weaken their victims psychologically. By preventing deep, restorative sleep, these supernatural forces create a cycle of exhaustion that makes people more susceptible to further paranormal influence. The tired mind becomes an easier target for supernatural manipulation and possession. Ancient warnings: why our ancestors feared the night. Traditional cultures developed elaborate rituals and protections around sleep because they understood dangers that modern society has forgotten. Hanging iron objects near beds, sprinkling salt around sleeping areas, and placing mirrors strategically weren't mere superstitions, but practical defenses against documented supernatural threats. The practice of blessing bedrooms and saying prayers before sleep originated from thousands of years of human experience with nocturnal supernatural encounters. Our ancestors knew that sleep represents humanity's most vulnerable state, when the barriers between the physical and spiritual worlds become dangerously thin. Even the simple act of making your bed every morning has supernatural significance. Leaving bedsheets disheveled creates negative energy pockets where entities can hide during daylight hours, waiting for nightfall to emerge. This knowledge has been passed down through generations, disguised as basic hygiene practices. The modern epidemic: why supernatural sleep encounters are increasing. Contemporary lifestyle factors have created an unprecedented surge in sleep-related paranormal activity. Our constant exposure to electromagnetic radiation from phones, Wi-Fi, and electronic devices creates a charged atmosphere that supernatural entities can manipulate more easily. Many people report that their ghostly encounters began after upgrading to smart homes or increasing their bedroom's electronic device density. Urban environments concentrate spiritual energy in ways that amplify supernatural activity. Apartment buildings built on old burial grounds, hospitals, or sites of tragedy become supernatural hotspots where residents unknowingly share their sleeping spaces with entities from the past. The emotional residue from previous occupants can linger for decades, manifesting most strongly during the vulnerable sleep hours. Social isolation and stress weaken our natural psychic defenses, making modern people more susceptible to supernatural influence than any previous generation. The combination of weakened spiritual immunity and increased environmental factors for ghostly manifestation has created a perfect storm for nocturnal supernatural encounters. Your bedroom's dark secrets, hidden supernatural hotspots. Certain areas of your bedroom create natural gathering points for supernatural activity. Corners, particularly those that remain consistently cool or shadowy, often serve as doorways between dimensions. Mirrors positioned to reflect your sleeping form can trap spiritual energy and create supernatural focal points that attract unwanted visitors. Antique furniture, especially beds and dressers, frequently harbor spiritual attachments from previous owners. These objects can serve as anchors that keep deceased individuals connected to the physical world, turning your peaceful bedroom into their supernatural residence. Many paranormal experts advise against purchasing used bedroom furniture without proper spiritual cleansing. The space under your bed represents a particularly dangerous supernatural zone. This dark, enclosed,